So, when people got us into playing tabletop games, they had always talked about how cool the bosses were and how difficult they could be. Except no one told you that the most powerful boss of all was scheduling. So I guess session's canceled because, yeah, I know the schedules just ain't lining up no more. Maybe the game's over. I cry. Anyway.
Oh, that was... It wasn't just the words. The delivery there was also depressing.
That's just sort of how I feel about it. Yeah. It's so Jover.
Jover gamer.
Oh my god. Well, on that depressing note aside,
it's a good way to start the day.
Yeah, a good way to start the year, really.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Sessions Canceled podcast, where me, Isaiah, your boy, and Josh, my co-host, that boy.
Something like that.
Yeah. Are here to discuss things of a tabletop nature, and, given that it's currently the holiday season of what used to be 2024, we were going to play it kind of light and a little fast and loose today, because about 2 or so weeks ago, Wizards released their fourth UA for the Artificer?
No. What are you talking about?
Not for 2024 Artificer, but over the course of 2014 and now. Yeah, it's the 4th or 5th Artificer.
Oh, well, yeah, but you can't count all the other versions. This is
I mean, I can when it's not I can when Artificer is barely an official class.
But this is a restart. They're revisiting it specifically because of all the new books they put out. It's not like this is a continuation of the other 4 UAs in any way.
I mean, in some ways it is. They do bring back some older stuff.
I mean, sure, I guess, but it's still not conceptually, it's not like they were oh, let's revisit the Artificer in a UA again just to keep doing it. Just cause, it's not like it was just out of the blue or anything. There was
I mean, it feels kind of out of the blue. The class was damn near officially released in Eberron Rising: The Last War. It was the last class to be released. Rising Last War released in 2018, which was right around when Tasha's came out, or a little earlier than Tasha's. So we really didn't need this.
Well, we need it because they wanted to adjust it to line up with 2024 a little bit more. That's why they're doing it.
I know, but they changed a lot. We're gonna get into it.
Yeah, because they wanted it to line up with the newer design, so they changed things. That's what I'm saying. That's why it exists.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying it's a little. What's the word I'm looking for? Unnecessary, I think. They could have just sort of swapped over the basic level level gain stuff and shifted some of the words around, and I think we would have been pretty much fine.
I fail to see why you are saying it's unnecessary.
Because I just don't feel like we need it. Like I said, I think where Artificer was at was fine, given what it was. I think it could have gone something along the ways of the Rogue, where the Rogue didn't really change that much. Not that it needed to.
Or are you just mad because you think it changed too much? Is that really all you're getting at?
It's not. There are some things I'm frustrated, but overall, I wouldn't say I'm mad. It just feels kind of unnecessary.
Because it changed too much?
Yes, the amount of stuff it changed is unnecessary. What are you trying to get at? What the fuck?
I'm just trying to figure out what you mean, because I don't feel like it was an unnecessary thing to do, but you're just arguing that the quantity of change is the problem.
Yeah, the quantity of change and what they changed. I think it was a bit superfluous and maybe unnecessary.
Okay. I mean, a lot of people argue that Artificer is a very, like, not good class in terms of, like, meta and stuff, so...
I know. It's weird because they're fucking wrong.
To readdress it. I don't personally see it, but that's what a lot of people say. I don't know. I know. I'm not enough in the, like, build crafty rabbit hole. In fact, I'm not at all in the build crafty rabbit hole because I think that shit's fucking stupid. So I don't really know why it is people say that, but, like, that's the thing people say.
Look, I am 100% an optimized gamer, right? Like, I play my classes, and when I play them, I make them strong. Not to say that I'm a full-on meta gamer.
I would say you're not an optimized. I would not say you're an optimized. You're not doing. You would not say I am. You're not doing. What's that YouTube? Is it Tree It Monk? You're not doing these like hyper optimal multi-class. Here's the combo magic item X, Y, and Z thing to make the god tier death machine. Like, you're not doing that kind of shit.
No, and
that's
most
the
people
hyper optimized gamer.
No, so yeah, that's what I'm not.
Right,
but I do optimize my builds. What I am saying is, those people
are say that Artificer has is not very good.
Which, yeah, sure. Like I said, I get that that's what they're saying. I just think they're wrong. Like, I've done my fair share of min-maxing. I've done, like, Fury craft builds to get the highest numbers out, and you can get just pretty stupid numbers. But, like, especially with Armor Artificer, like, it's just really good. And it really doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. So, yeah, I don't know. I think anyone who said Artificer was bad in the Eberron version, you're a bit of a dork.
Well, Tasha's version,
yeah. It's. I think they're just wrong. And yeah. Anyway, give a bit of a recap because we haven't done these in a while. We're just going to sort of talk about the stuff that's new. Yeah, the UA. We're going to just talk about, briefly the stuff that's new, the stuff that's old, go over the new mechanics.
I think it's worth pointing out, for anyone who's not aware, the Artificer got a new UA recently, likely because a new book after the Monster Manual is released. It will likely get reprinted into a new 2025 book somewhere down the road. So they are playtesting it. It is a playtest UA. And the survey, as of recording, is currently open. I believe it will be closed by the time the episode goes out, though, so that's kind of useless information for you. But yeah,
let's see.
It's the same as the playtest that they were doing for the other classes before any of the 2024 books released. Context sake, in case somebody's sitting there listening and going, why the fuck are we getting a new Artificer UA out of nowhere? Probably because it's getting reprinted in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I fair enough. I figured that we didn't really need to talk about that, considering
not
all
everyone
the classes that just dropped
are turbo fucking nerds that pay attention to this that deeply like we do.
I guess,
so we have to be the deliverers of the information.
Yeah, I suppose they're releasing a bunch of new books. It just feels like common sense that someone would go, "Oh, it might be coming out in new books soon." They just released a whole new edition, and are telling. Yeah,
some people don't know they just released a whole new edition.
I don't know how. If you're watching this podcast, I don't know how you don't know that.
Well, now you know it if you listen to us consistently, but some people are not aware of that fact because they're not that deep in this house.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure people are on the same page. It's worthwhile information.
I suppose. You know what else is worthwhile information? Telling the people what they need to know.
Don't drink and drive. That's important information to know.
I like that you just refused to actually plug. You either forget to do it at the beginning of the episode when you host, and then when I tell you to do it at the beginning of the episode when I host, I just say something fucking ridiculous.
I didn't forget. I was just fucking around. But I mean, yes, you don't need to know. I don't know why you phrase it as need to know. This is not information you need to know in any capacity, but you should subscribe. You should hit the subscribe button, but it's not information you need to know. It is not vital to your existence. Your life will go on.
Until I get you. In which case.
Unless Isaiah kills you, I guess. Which, for legal reasons, that is a joke.
Yes. Totally only going to destroy you in Minecraft.
Yes.
Definitely don't know where you live
in
right
Minecraft. Always in Minecraft.
Always. Now, without further ado, the Artificer core traits. Primary ability modifier is still intelligence. We're still sticking with the D8 hit die. I believe we have shifted away from...
Imagine it became wisdom.
I'd fucking scream.
I would laugh so hard.
Oh no, sorry. We have not shifted away from con and intelligence. Good. Happy that it stayed that way. The saving throw proficiencies are still con and int.
Oh. Yeah.
Look, you have to be a slightly tankier nerd than the wizard, so we need these two.
I mean, yeah, kinda, yeah.
My dog is barking. I will destroy him. I have nothing in this house.
No. No.
Wow.
Anyway,
the skill proficiencies have also not changed. For those of you who don't know what they are in the first place, they are Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, or Sleight of Hand. The weapon proficiencies are Simple Weapons and Firearms. They do not reference firearms in the new version, but that's just because...
That's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need firearms proficiency. Firearms fall under ranged martial.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, they aren't proficient with firearms
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, which might have actually been an oversight. They might want to go back and fix that.
I believe Artillerist and Battlesmith. No, not Battlesmith.
Battlesmith definitely does get an extra, get a martial proficiency for sure.
Yeah, I believe Artillerist also does.
Artillerist might. Maybe.
After that, we can move on to tool proficiencies. We have Tinker's Tools, Thieves' Tools, and one other type of tool of your choice. That remains the same.
Start with 3.
Armor proficiency, we're at... Yeah. Armor proficiency, we're at light and... You know what I mean. Armor training, you're at light and medium armor, as well as shields. That has also remained the same. And your starting gear is...
the same.
Oh, is it? I thought one thing... Oh, no. It's
the same.
Oh, it's... Okay, no, the armor. Yeah. Choose ARB, studded leather armor.
They've made it so that... They made it so that everyone's B choice is just money now. A flat amount of money.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's for every class in 2020.
Yes. Where was the... Actually, oh yeah. So I'm going to read the design notes first before we actually get into the levels, because I think it's a good...
okay.
Introduction to the changes that we're going to be looking at after this. So it says, design notes, Artificer updates. Here are the main updates for this class since its appearance in Tashin's Cauldron of Everything. Number 1, magical tinkering now allows the Artificer to craft low-cost items quickly. Spellcasting now allows the Artificer to change one cantrip after each long rest. Infuse item has been redesigned and renamed to Replicate Magic Item. The feature allows the Artificer to replicate any magic item of a qualifying rarity and item type. Keep that in mind. The word any magic item. Very important.
I mean, it's true. What? It's a true statement.
Yeah.
But you made it sound like they were like you were gonna be like, that's bullshit.
No, that's not what I was going to say at all. What I was going to say is previous versions of this same ability
was more limited.
Give you very specific things you could make, and it was often not very good. There was some good stuff, but then there was times where it's like, yes, my level 14 craft, what can I make? Winged boots.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So like the replicate list at level 14 plus was, not great.
Yeah. After that, we have magic item tinker, replaces tool expertise and lets you turn a magic item into a spell slot. We'll get into it. That's a little weird sounding. We'll explain.
I like that one a lot.
I do too.
Just
Flash of Genius is now used in response to an ability check or a saving throw failing.
It's just
very
better.
nice. It is just better. Yeah.
It's like what they did with Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah. Spell storing item has been changed to include level 3 Artificer spells, and Soul of Artifice no longer requires a reaction to cheat death, and it restores you to 20 hit points instead of 1. The feature's other benefits now enhance ability checks. That one
Is weird.
got cooler in some ways and shittier in others.
Yeah,
We will go.
that one's really weird. To be fair, I will say Soul of Artifice in the first place, I've always thought was straight, like, I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad capstone. It's not as bad as some other capstone's abilities. But Soul of Artifice was always a capstone ability that I looked at and I was like, this feels kind of off theme a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Like it feels.
it has changed a lot across its iterations. The one that we had in Tasha's,
I don't remember the older ones. I'm talking about
They were-
Tasha's / Eberron
Yeah.
version.
Yeah. The older ones, it's varied a lot. For reference, what it used to do is it gave you a +1 to all saving throws per magic item you're attuned to, which you maxed out at 6.
Yeah, 6.
And if you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can use a reaction and end one of your infusion to cause you to drop to 1 instead. So you could do this, I think, a grand total of
Quite a bit.
12 times?
Yeah.
So it was quite good. You basically you couldn't really die unless you were murdered outright. And you had stupid high saving throw. Which, say what you will, it's better than you don't age anymore.
Well, that's not the only part of that, but yes.
I mean, no, it's not, but it's one of the big ones.
I guess.
It's not, you just auto hit, which is good, but kind of boring.
Who has an auto hit? What?
Rogue?
Oh, right.
What is the goofiest capstone? We've talked about this before, but I don't remember.
Is that even a question? You know the answer to that.
Off the top of my exhausted, hungover, post-New Year's brain, I definitely don't.
It's Ranger.
Oh, that's right. Master of
The
Combat.
D10,
Yeah.
Master of Combat. Like
D10,
that is the goofiest
Master of
one.
Combat,
That's-
right,
there's no. Oh God, I can't.
I love that Paladin every so often will, like, if it's quiet in a chat, he'll just
Master
be
of
like,
Combat.
Master of Combat. We really need to put that on a shirt. That has to be our first piece of merch.
I don't feel. I guess. I was gonna say I don't think we could, but they can't.
They can't. Yeah, they can't copyright the phrase.
It's a phrase, yeah.
Yeah, look. So the word, it'll just be like the words "Master of Combat" in like stone letters,
Right.
and then a bunch of arrows just pathetically plinking off the side of it.
Oh, I thought we put Master of Combat and then just write 1d10 under it.
Yeah. So when you do the arrow, it's just 1d10. Like it does like the little the Diablo like little red damage number over the head.
Yeah.
And it just says 1d10. Tell me that wouldn't be a peak shirt though.
That would be funny. That would be a funny one. I can't deny that would be a funny one.
It's got to be it. It's got to be our first shirt. But before
Anyway.
we can do that, we have to continue. So the first ability that has shifted is ironically your first ability, which is a thing. We get Magical Tinkering. Now, again, this replaced
Magical Tinkering.
Magical Tinkering, yeah.
It had the same name, yeah. I'm so curious what your opinion is on this one, because I know you kind of like the old ability. I thought the old
awful.
ability.
The new one sucks balls. It does nothing.
Like, I get it. Yeah, so you, as a magic action with Tinker Tools, you can create an item in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of yourself. Choose the item from the following list, and it has a bunch of adventuring gear like ball bearings and a basket, a bedroll, a bell, a blanket, yada yada yada. The item vanishes after 1 hour, which I think is goofy and unnecessary. I don't know why they didn't just say vanishes after a long rest.
Why does it vanish in general? Just make a thing.
Well, because assholes who want to do the infinite money glitch or whatever. That's why it vanishes.
I suppose.
It's those kind of people. That's why they put that in there. I guarantee it. You can do this a number of times equal to your int modifier. You regain your uses on long rest. Yeah, you MacGyver up. You basically can MacGyver up stuff. The problem is that
this is basically the Conjuration Wizard's like
kinda
level 2 like entry level ability.
I mean, so the thing is like there has to be a happy medium here, because on one hand I understand, I actually like the idea of the Artificer being able to MacGyver useful things. Like I like that idea because thematically for the class it makes a lot of sense. But because adventuring gear is not very useful in 5e, in fact it's almost completely useless. This list of stuff is not really going to do anything for you, so you're probably not going to end up using it. The old version was sort of like a prestidigitation, like a pseudo prestidigitation thing, and it wasn't bad, but it was kind of wordy and specific, and felt a little, I don't know. It doesn't like MacGyvering items out of your ass feels more on theme to the class than like enchanting an item to like do like project a noise or shed a bright light or like create a weird visual effect. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. My argument to that is the Artificer is explicitly not an inventor. They're an enchanter.
Yeah, which I guess I don't love that. I want them to be more inventory, personally.
I agree. I think, things like Artillerist probably make more sense in something like an inventor. Armor probably makes more sense in something like an inventor.
Yeah.
But for what it is, it's the I make magic items.
Right.
You're not really inventing the item. You're just enchanting a normal thing into a magic item.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there has to be a happy medium between the Tasha's version and this current UA version. Like this current UA version, I get what they're trying to do, but yes, it's not particularly useful because adventuring gear does not serve a great purpose in 5e. I do think part of the reason they did change it though too is because a lot of 2024, the objective for a lot of things was to make shit less wordy. Just like in general. Yeah. And the old one was very wordy.
It was, and I think genuinely that's to its hindrance. Like, just because something is a little wordy doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. And when you like super dumb down
it doesn't mean it's
language,
bad. But I think the old version was overly. It had all these stipulations and bullet points, and it felt overly dense for a level, especially for a level 1 ability.
I mean, it's no more dense than the Prestidigitate spell. Or Thaumaturgy,
which
it's no less dense than any spell.
I would level the exact same criticism at those two spells.
But you need those. Like you need a certain amount of like text depth because they're supposed to be. You use these things interestingly and in creative ways.
I don't actually think you do need those. I think what you should have is a blanket rule that covers those kind of things, which like how the Fabula Ritual covers a lot of concepts. I think that would be more effective, but that's not going to happen for 5e.
Yes, I mean, I think the thing is with the more mechanically focused the game is, the more stipulations and requirements you need. At some point, you sort of need to build one with the other, right? I know but they know.
Like, but
there is actually a solution to this. Like 100%. There's a actual genuine solution to this. I'm playing it right now in a game. It's the Knoll I just find shit ability. Now, granted, the Knoll's ability brings you up to 100 GP, and you have to spend that GP. It's not like you don't just make shit out of nothing. You can spend up to 100 GP, and you can turn that into anything you might need, as long as the GM agrees. Just take that, reduce it to 10 GP, which is, at level 1, that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's most toolkits you might need. That's instruments, shields, crystals for spells, clothing, weapons. That's a bunch of shit that you can use. You know what I mean? fucking lumber and textiles and all that shit. Do that.
How is any of that gonna be super useful? Like,
so in the case of like let's use these right here, right? If your characters are captured or whatever, and your character can get back to can get some tools because they tell you exactly what tools you need to create a kit now.
Yeah.
So you could scrap those things together as you're trying to escape, and then you can MacGyver a sword or a shield or something. With this, it's you're trying to be Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone when the bad guys are actually cognizant and have some understanding of traps, and then have a double barrel shotgun. You know, like, you don't really have a way. Like, this list is too restrictive and not that useful, and makes it very, very difficult to be creative and interesting.
It's definitely not useful. That's for sure. I don't know. I almost feel like
the ones that are useful
to just. I almost feel like it should be like you can jimmy up a tool of some kind. That tool can follow these this grouping of stipulations with GM approval, and that's it. Like, just be done with it there.
See, I think that's too simple then. 'Cause I there's a lot of, oh, GM, can I do this? No, you cannot do this. Hey, GM, can I do this? No, you cannot do this. Just
yeah, but that works fine in other games.
And yet it seems to not work that well in D&D.
I know. Well, I know. Which I don't understand.
I think it's because of the mechanical complexity of D&D.
It's like not that.
Like, perfect example. That is not really a thing in Lancer. It just this ability just lets you do a thing, and that's all there is to it. It's this ability lets you do a thing. You exist in this state as you do that thing. The only thing that can interact with you when you're doing this thing is another thing. Like, it kind of has to get into the weeds because of the amount of factors that are in play.
I mean, I think 5e has more room for that though, and they just refuse to utilize it. I mean, that's why the old version of Divine Intervention kind of existed the way it did, because they did have a little bit of room for that kind of stuff, but now they seem to continue to want, like, if Wish, for example, wasn't a legacy spell, it would probably be removed. You know what I mean?
Probably, yes.
Like, if it wasn't for the brand, the Wish would be removed because they're scared of that kind of. Maybe I shouldn't say they're scared, but they don't want to use that sort of like open-ended, back and forth with the GM discussion-y thing. Like, they don't want to have a ritual type of, like a Fabula Ultima ritual type ability in 5e. They're like afraid to do that.
Yes, and I think that's because of GM horror stories. It's because of the
right. But I don't.
This is the thing, right? This is the small group of bad actors that they said they very specifically were not going to plan around, and now they're fucking doing it, and everyone's like, "Why are you fucking doing it?" Yeah, it's that.
All I'm saying is, I think that 5e has a lot more room for that stuff than the designers are currently allowing. That's what
I don't disagree.
But you know. It's a weird ability. I don't know what the happy medium is between the old version and this version, but should I say the current version and this playtest version? But yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like just pull shit up to a certain dollar amount out of your ass, I think, is the perfect medium.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but maybe.
No, I don't think they are, and it's partially probably because it exists as a mechanic somewhere else, and they're probably just not going to take that wholesale.
Could be.
But I don't know. Personally, as someone who's playing the Knoll, the Mr. X Knoll, and I'm using that ability quite a lot. And I know I have to be cognizant because it does cost me actual money. It just, I don't know. It works, it's fun, and it presents a lot of really fun moments, but getting lost in the weeds. After that, we have spellcasting. I'm gonna be honest, I never read these spellcasting things too closely.
It's the same.
It's a lot of text, and they often are the same. Yeah.
Nothing changed. I mean, they reworded it to be in line with the new way that they explain spellcasting, but it all works the same. Artificers can change out spells, prepared spells on a long rest, etc., etc. They're half casters. Yes. They can change out a cantrip. They can replace one cantrip on a long rest, which I think all the casters got.
So I don't know anymore because they had that in one of the editions, and I for another one that came after it, they went back to you can swap on a level.
I think all of the main casters got the ability to swap a
Let me check.
Now I got a picture. I look at like sorcerer.
Nope, yeah, cleric. Whenever you gain a cleric level, you can replace one of your cantrips.
Oh. Okay, well, here for the Artificer playtest, it says long rest, so that's interesting.
Yes.
That might change. Oh no, that was a wizard thing specifically in 2024, wasn't it? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Let me check.
Yeah, that was a wizard. Because that was one of the things they pointed out for wizard is that they can do a cantrip swap. So I guess they're going to give it to Artificer because Artificer is like the half-casty wizard character.
Yeah, likely.
Yeah. Okay.
After that, we have it is replicate magic item. I was gonna give it this big, opening thing, but yes, replicate magic item. What it says is you have learned arcane plans. By the way, this is replacing infusions. To anyone who's played Artifice before, infusions are practically speaking gone. They've removed about 70% of them.
Oh, whoa, no, they have not. That's not true. Not true.
I mean,
they're not practically gone. I would say that the infusions have been reworked into effectively all infusions are magic items that you create, and then some of the infusions that were like something that you specifically applied to something else, they turned it into a magic item so that to retain them. So like the repeating shot, for example, which you put on a simpler martial melee weapon with the ammunition property, is now just a magic item. It's called a repeating weapon, or it's still called a repeating shot, and it is a weapon that has the repeating shot ability from the infusion. So it's just a magical range weapon.
Well, I'm counting what we used to have versus what we have.
We are missing 2. They didn't port over arcane propulsion armor, and they didn't port over armor of magical strength. Every other infusion got ported.
That's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 16 infusions on 5e tools and 8.
So we have 8 what?
There are 8 newly minted magic items were previously infusions at the back of the Artificer book or document.
Yeah, so a couple of them. So like the Mind Sharpener got turned into a ring, and then but it says for enhanced arcane focus, they didn't make it a new magic item, but they said just take a +1 wand to the War Mage because that does the same thing. They didn't make a magic item for enhanced defense. They said take a +1 shield because that does the same thing. For enhanced weapon, take a +1 weapon because that does the same thing. So like those ones, they were like just pick up magic items that have the same effect. And then for the ones that didn't necessarily work, they got turned into a magical item. But we're missing arcane propulsion armor and the armor of magical strength. Those did not get ported. Maybe they'll be turned into a magic item on their own down the road or something. I don't know. Because it's a little weird that those 2 are missing. But like...
Oh, yes, and they turned Homunculus Servant into a spell.
Into a spell.
Forgot about that.
Yes, that was the one other one, which... I'm fine with that.
They did the thing again.
I'm kind of okay with that one because it kind of feels like a spell anyway. Like, it feels so similar to Find Familiar that it doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just a lot better than Find Familiar.
It is better than Find Familiar, that's true.
It's like a lot better. And it's only 1 spell level higher.
Yes.
That's a little nuts. Like,
I mean,
we'll get to that eventually. Yes, what I'm saying removed because they are no longer called infusions, and a lot of the rules surrounding them are no longer, they don't exist anymore.
Basically,
something different.
The crux of the core, like the core of the difference is that you make a magic item that has the same effect as what an infusion would have had, as opposed to applying an infusion to an existing item. So like, you know, before you had enhanced arcane focus, which you could put on a rod, a staff, or a wand, and it was said, while holding this item, a creature gains +1 bonus to spell attack rolls. In addition, the creature ignores half cover while making a spell attack. Wand of the War Mage does the same thing, so you can just take Wand of the War Mage +1. So you're not applying it to an existing thing, is the big difference. Or is the fictional difference?
Big things about that. Yeah, the big things about that are, as it exists now, you can make, 4 less plans, fusions. 4 less of those. You can create the same number at your maximum being 6. That's worth mentioning. Yeah. The other big thing is that previously your infusions did not count as attuned items, but they didn't have to. Some of them did. Some of them do.
But that's still true because not all magic items are attuned. Like, for example, enhanced defense didn't require attunement, and a +1 shield does not require attunement. So that's still true in both scenarios.
Yes, that is true. A big thing about some of the +1 stuff was that they stacked specifically, and I think that was a pretty cool thing.
They didn't want.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, we've talked about this
because
before.
Of you
the +1, +2, +3 to things. Yeah, but that's not going to happen unless someone's playing an armor. And again,
doesn't matter. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. I think that the stacking was an unintended consequence.
Yeah, I don't. I get what you're saying. I don't see how you can avoid that because there's still a bunch of shit that's going to do that. Well, you're going to get that high. You're going to get those numbers sort of regardless.
Well, no, you're avoiding that problem now because instead of taking an existing +1, like enhanced defense gave you a +1 AC to a thing. So if you did literally what you did, where I have an existing +1 shield, I can now make it a +2 shield. You can't do that anymore because you can make a +1 shield, but you can't apply a +1 to an existing magical shield. So that has now circumvented that stacking.
Yes,
So they are avoiding it.
I don't see what the point of that is.
I mean, you're gonna get.
Because again,
you're not gonna agree with me, but because it was kind of OP.
It was strong. I'll give you that. It was quite strong. But at the level you're at, I don't see that as overpowered by any means. And technically,
as someone who was on the receiving end, it felt overpowered.
Sure, I guess, in the same way that someone on the receiving end of a high-level paladin feels like it's overpowered. Sure, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that it necessarily is. And again, I mean, I did some bullshit personally by getting myself access to shield.
I do think paladins were previously OP. Yes, I do think that. Especially when you use them for multi-classing purposes. That's
I'll
when
agree
it got
with you
really
there.
Silly.
I'll give you that for sure. Yeah. What I mean to say is that it's, unless they drastically overhaul how you gain levels and like how you can combine levels into multi-classing, you're never going to get rid of that problem.
For multi-classing, no, but for a single class, you can mitigate that problem.
You can. I don't think you should. Like we can have a whole hour-long conversation about this, where you're trying to. They are very specifically trying to discourage people from multi-classing. But in instances where you see severe weakening of classes and their abilities, that promotes multi-classing because it just stops being fun after a certain point to get the things because the things aren't very cool anymore.
But you could make the argument at the other side that it's dissuading multi-classing. If the class abilities are not as impactful, then you're not going to feel the desire to pick them up in a multi-class format.
At low level.
At any, well, if they do it like sort of across the board, then it's potentially discouraging it in general.
But then the classes are just not as fun to play.
That could be yes. Well, that would be, it's a balancing act between the classes. Is the class not as fun to play, and how does it stack up in a multi-classing sense? Honestly, I don't think multi-classing got playtested at all, and I think that's really where the crux of the issue began.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think when 5e was made, multi-classing was properly playtested, which is why it was considered an optional rule.
I mean, didn't they? I'm pretty sure we talked about this, that they just out and said that for a lot of the optional rules. They didn't playtest them.
They definitely said that for feats. I don't remember if they said that for multi-classing, but it definitely seems like that is the case for multi-classing. So now they're in this awkward scenario where they're not going to get rid of it entirely. So they have to work around within the bounds of what they already have.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to disagree on this, particularly that when it comes to balancing, I don't think Wizards have ever had a good streak of it. You get some good ones here or there, and then some things just feel kind of wimpy and other things feel really, really good for some reason.
Well, I mean, my opinion on how balance works in tabletop games in general, I think most people don't agree with, which is to say, fuck it, you don't need it, is not literally, but I don't look at balancing the way a lot of people look at it. So to me, saying like Wizards is good or bad at it, I'm like, I don't really care. But I think
you care when they are not, when it comes to the detriment of the fun that you're able to have from it.
Yes, well, there are certain things in 5e that sometimes feel like they get out of hand to the point where it's like, yes, it's actively annoying or making things not that fun. Such as Paladin Rogue Smite combo nonsense. And I think just adjusting how the infusions so you can't stack them as much is just one of those things. They also just don't want you to stack shit in general in 5e. Like, stacking buffs is very discouraged in the game pretty much across the board. So the fact that you could do it in this one place may have been like we didn't realize that we did that, so now we're going to try and mitigate that.
Potentially. I'm going to admit it, like early on. I mean, I say early on, I think we're already like 30 minutes in. Well, yeah, 45 minutes in. I'm just sort of tired of Artificer being fucked with. I'm just sort of exhausted by it. Even though this is the first of the new Artificer, tests. As someone who's played Artificer since its first inception into 5e,
but
I'm just sort of exhausted by it. And I thought we finally hit a really good pace. And now everything's thrown out of whack again. And I'm just...
Well, I think you're looking at this a little bit wrong, because you're making it sound like Artificer has been reprinted like 5 times, which is not the case. It had a lot of playtest UAs, but that's what a playtest is. It's gonna change and it's gonna get fucked with, because that's the point of a playtest. And sometimes something that you really, really like is gonna get the garbage can. And if you don't want to have to go through that, don't interact with playtests, because that's what they're for, is that certain ideas will survive and certain ideas won't survive. So, like, I think you're being a little unfair in that you're like, they just keep fucking with the class. And, like, in actuality, they don't. They've printed it once, officially. Well, they printed it once, and then they reprinted it as is. They didn't make any changes. They reprinted it as is in a different book. Now it's going to get an official reprint that is going to have some changes. But it has not had like 4 official printings of different versions of it. Right? It's just had a bunch of UAs.
But the amount of UAs we're getting, it's getting to the point where I think you can do too much R&D.
Well, but this is the amount of R&D they would be doing. The only difference is we're getting to see it publicly. this is the kind of shit they'd be doing internally anyway. Actually, they're doing more than what we're seeing. It's not like we see every little playtest thing they do. You know, there's lots of ideas that they probably try and immediately throw in the trash that we'll never hear about.
Yeah, it's true. But I think there's a certain point where you can just put the thing down and be like, okay, it kind of is what it is. Leave it alone for a while.
Yes, but we're not at that point.
I think we've long passed that point. But
I don't think we have.
Again, we're going to get stuck on this for like an hour.
We did before, but now they're re-looking at it because of a specific event. So this is only the one. If we get, I don't know, 6 UAs before it gets printed again to official book, then I'll be like, all right, maybe you're fiddling with it too much. But we've sort of reset the clock at this point, so we're only at 1. You know?
I disagree. I see what you're saying. I don't agree though.
You can't hold them to the old UAs though. Like those aren't like the timer has been reset.
I don't feel that it has. I think that's the crux, is that I don't feel like it's been reset.
But it it has from their standpoint as designers. Right? That's what the whole 2024 rules is about. Is
sure, but the perspective of the designer and the perspective of the consumer are two very different things.
I know, but you're getting mad about a bunch of UAs, but like you weren't like, yeah, I get it. You liked an older version in one of the many UAs, but you feeling like it's been fucked with a lot is kind of a disingenuous way to put it. Because it hasn't been fucked with a lot. It got playtested a lot. That's not the same thing.
I mean, both are true. Like, they've specifically said we just throw shit out. We just throw shit at the wall to see what's going on. That's part of that's a crucial part of R&D. You just fuck with shit to see what happens.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, like, saying that Artificer has been fucked with a bunch makes it sound like a bunch of different official versions have been put into print, when in actuality we got a lot of playtests of it. Those are not the same thing.
No, they're not, and I'm not pretending that they are. And you might like, be sort of inferring that from what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that we've received several versions of it, official or not, and it is a little exhausting from a consumer standpoint. Because the second you get used to a thing, or you start finding things that you like in it, and when you may not have otherwise liked it,
right,
then it's different again.
What I'm saying is, if you don't like that,
you have to try that thing.
If you don't like that, don't look at the playtests.
Well, unfortunately, that's sort of our job, is to look at those playtests. So I don't.
It's not. We're not obligated. But what I'm saying is, if you don't like that feeling, then don't interact with playtests, because playtests are always going to have that feeling.
But then you lose out on the good parts of the playtest.
Yes,
and there are.
You have to weigh the pros and cons of doing it, of interacting with it.
Yeah, and you can still interact with it and go, nah, I didn't like that. I think we're.
Yes, I'm not saying you can't say you didn't like it, but if you're frustrated about that feeling of, oh, I liked this and it's gone, or oh, I didn't like this but it's still there and shit like that, it's like, if you don't like that feeling, then don't look at playtests. Like, if that really bothers you, then you don't look at them, because that's always going to happen. What I'm saying. Yes,
I think it's what you're describing is a little bit easier said than done, but yeah.
Well, it's just a personal choice for you. You have to weigh the pros and cons of looking at them or not looking at them.
Yeah, so for example, when Matt sent me the new Artificer, I went, seriously, what the fuck is going on here? Like, again? And then I looked at it. I didn't know what was in it. I didn't know if it was going to be good or bad. It was really incredulousness.
Yes, I'm just saying, if you looked at it and go, what the fuck is this, seriously, again, if you're already a negative about its mere existence, then maybe you should think about it and go, maybe I should just not bother looking at it, because I'm going to get annoyed at myself. Get annoyed in general.
Maybe, but it's going to exist no matter what.
It's going to exist, yes.
We've been stuck on the same level 2 thing for about 20 minutes.
I mean, it's the biggest change.
It is, and it's worth mentioning. You know, we've talked about it quite a bit. We haven't actually even really gone into it that much, other than just describe it, so we should probably do that. Level 2 replicate magic item. When you gain this feature, choose 4 plans to learn from the Magic Item Plans Artificer Level 2+ table. See Dungeon Master's Guide for the item descriptions. Bag of Holding, Cap of Water Breathing, Sending Stones, and Wand of the War Mage are recommended. They are not the only list. As we said before, you get access to the entire list of rarity up to that point, bar some stipulation.
Well, not at level 2, you don't.
Of that rarity.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, yes, yeah. You can make any common item that isn't a potion or a scroll or cursed at level 2.
Yes.
I don't
whenever
know why
you gain
you
an
would
artifice
make a
level,
first magic item for yourself. That's strange, but
yeah, I don't know.
Feels like a weird thing to be like, you can't make cursed items. It's like, well, I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I could see that is maybe if they had later on give you like you just ignore curses ability in the same way that Thief can for some reason just ignore level and race requirement.
I guess maybe.
It states, you learn another plan of your choice when you gain certain Artificer levels as shown on the plans in the Artificer feature table. It's, like I said, it's like Infusions. The numbers are roughly the same, except the number you know is a bit smaller.
A little bit smaller.
Towards the end.
Which I don't know what that was struck me as a little odd, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's just because the bookkeeping was a lot.
It was.
It was.
Artificer is the bookkeepy class. Like, I think... I mean, we've talked about this too, where it was like, it's okay to let one class be complicated and be the high risk, high reward. You actually require a couple brain cells to run it. I think that's actually a good thing.
I mean, but there's a happy medium on that too. You don't want to go too overboard with it.
No, you're right. I frankly,
did feel like kind of a lot. I'm not gonna let that did feel like kind of a lot.
It didn't for me, but to each their own.
On the GM side of things, it felt like a lot.
I have not run someone playing Artificer, so I can't really speak to that. But as a player, I was chilling.
Yeah, because you're only thinking about your character.
True. I've been a DM for years. I get the difference that can make. I'm just saying I don't know it. I've not experienced it personally in that way. You can move on to the creating a magic item, which says, I'm doing the thing and it's getting on my damn nerves. When you finish a long rest, you can create 1 or 2 different magic items if you have Tinker's tools in hand. Each item is based on one of the plans you know for this feature. If a created item requires attunement, you can attune yourself to that item the instant you create it. If you would decide to attune to another item later, you must do so using the normal attunement process. When you reach certain Artificer levels specified in the Magic Items column of the Artificer Features table, the number of magic items you can create at the end of a long rest increases. Each item you create must be based on a different plan you know. If you try to exceed your maximum number of magic items for this feature, the oldest item vanishes and a new one reappears. Duration: magic items created by this feature function exactly like the normal magic item, except its magic isn't permanent. When you die, the magic item disappears after 1d4 days. If an item that you created with this feature is a container, such as a bag of holding, it vanishes and its contents harmlessly appear in and around its space. I like that they put that in, because there's some room for some bullshittery going on there.
I think the magic item vanishing thing is, I don't know, feels weird, but
I agree, it does feel weird as fuck.
I guess because you could exploit like the character dying and then using all of their stuff in some fashion is what they're worried about. I don't know.
One thing I would have very much preferred they specified is if someone else can attune to the item.
I don't see why they couldn't.
In the same way that people couldn't attune to your infusions.
Yes? Like... Wait, no, well, no, because couldn't you with the old infusions you would you could... You would infuse like the item, and then you could just give it to somebody for them to attune to it. Could you not?
I don't believe you could. I don't 100% remember, but I'm pretty sure you couldn't, like... So I had the repulsor shield. I don't think I could give someone the repulsor shield. If I did the replicate magic item ability and made the goggles of night, I was able to give those to Leah.
I don't... Well, you would give them the shield. You're just giving them the shield that the infusion's on. I don't think there's any reason.
Does the effect still work, though?
Yeah. I don't see it. It doesn't. I don't think it says anything about it not working. I don't remember anything about that not working that way. Because you would take a normal shield, you put the repulsor shield infusion on the normal shield, and then you hand the person the shield. And then they attune to it. Now you just skip the one step of having a normal shield, you just make a magical shield and hand it to them.
I suppose that's true.
I don't see it. I don't see anything that implies that wouldn't work. Actually, in fact, it feels a little weird if it feels like you should be able to do that. It feels like you should be able to make the squad stuff and then give it to them.
I agree. I just didn't think that's how it worked previously. Weird that they gave you tables again, like they used to, for the items you can make.
What do you mean?
So they, most of these are uncommon items, and then you've got the chunk that just says common item that isn't a potion, scroll, or cursed.
Right.
And then it gives you more stuff. But it specifies any item earlier up. It doesn't say you have to pick from a specific list, but then they give you a specific list.
Well, what it's saying is what it's saying is that you can create any item you want within the stipulations of the ability, and the ability gets upgraded as you level up, thus expanding the stipulation.
Yeah, which I get.
Whereas before it was a bespoke, like the replicate magic item infusion that currently exists just has a set list. So if they add a really cool magic item to the game, you technically couldn't make it because it's not on the list. So now that it just says you can make whatever the fuck you want within a certain stipulation, now as they add magic items to the game, your Artificer list expands in the same way as they add beasts to the game, your druid options expand, that kind of thing.
Which I get. Why did they still give you a list?
Because I think some of the stuff on the list is a little bit better. So like at level 2, you can make common items, but you can also make stuff like an alchemy jug or a bag of holding, which are uncommon. So the list, the items that are specifically mentioned are a little bit better than just a common whatever. So they're just giving you slightly better options. Because if it just said common items only, then you would be really limited at level 2, like you couldn't make a +1 weapon at level 2.
You're right, and that's sort of frustrating because mechanically the common items don't do anything.
Right, which is why they gave you the list of other stuff, because I think they realized mechanically the common items don't do a lot.
Then just don't let you, just give you just say any common to uncommon item at that point, because they don't do anything, mechanically speaking.
Well, this is where we get into the problem that items of a specific rarity are not power scaled within the rarity, right? Like they could say you can make any uncommon item, but not all uncommon items are built equally, is the problem. So, for example, a +1, most players agree, a +1 shield is a lot better than Goggles of Night. Like, just like on a power scale usefulness. So the problem is if they said you could make any uncommon magic item, the problem then becomes that some uncommon magic items are really, really good, and maybe they don't want you to access those really early on. Side note, I think it's a little crazy you can make a +1 shield and a +1 weapon at level 2.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing, right? Is those are the best things
Yes.
Just give you the other things.
Yes, they were trying to avoid that and failed to avoid that, basically.
Yeah, like miserably. This is the shit that I don't get, where it's no, we can't let shit be strong.
I'm not saying they did it correctly. I'm just saying what I think their train of thought was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I really don't want to be this asshole, but it feels like they never do it right. It just feels like at this point we can't let something be too strong, and then it's boring and samey and really homogenized.
It may have been the thing where they were like a fireball situation. A fireball is iconic, so we made it better than we made it a little unbalanced on purpose. Making a +1 magical sword or a +1 magical shield is a very iconic fantasy trope, so we can't not let the Artificer do it because that would feel shitty to let them not, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know, they could have moved it to level 6. I don't think it would have been that big a deal. But I personally would have been okay with level 2, you can make common items. Level 6, you can make uncommon items. That wouldn't have bothered me that much. I would maybe move it to I don't know, level 5, level 4. Well, it can't be 4. I guess 4 doesn't quite work, but you can make it level 5. Oh no, that's when they get a subclass feature. Oh, that is kind of a But yeah, I would be okay with level 2 common, level 6 uncommon, level 10 rare, and then 14 very rare or whatever. I would have been.
Yeah, they don't let you make any very rare items.
At level 14. Oh no, just rare.
Just rare.
Never mind.
I don't know.
I thought they did. I thought very rare was in there, but
nope.
I mean, you don't want. I mean, part of the problem too with the idea of making magic items in general is you don't want artificers to replace. You don't want the artificer's ability to be so good that they kind of replace the idea of going into the dungeon to find the very rare sword. You know what I mean? You don't want an artificer to be so good that they replace the need for the paladin to go and find a holy avenger. There's like a balancing act there.
There is, and I feel like they should just let you make one very rare item, and you have to keep it.
Yeah. And if you try to make another one, I could see you making one. That could be an option.
Let you make rare items, and then just go. You get one very rare item, or I don't trust them to not make this not good, but you can be you can make one very rare item from a select list.
Yeah, you could do that. Honestly, the funny thing about the infusions for me is they went in the complete opposite direction of what I would have done. Because they looked at because the infusions as they exist currently, you have infusions, and then you have that one infusion that's called replicate magic item, right? And replicate magic item lets you conjure, just straight up make magical items. And they looked at that and they said, okay, we kind of have two different abilities smushed together into one weird ability. So let's redesign it a little so that it all feels like one cohesive ability. And so their train of thought was, let's make it so the entire thing is based around creating magic items. I would have said, no. Take out the replicate magic item, make the entire thing based around infusing mundane items with magical effects, and just make it so that those magical effects aren't boring, it's a +1 this or whatever. Make them unique magical infusions that only an artificer can stick on things, which some of them were, the repulsion shield is kind of that. So do more stuff like that. That's what I would have gone with. I would have taken out replicate magic item and just had more infusions that had unique properties, unique abilities to them.
That's literally what infusions were meant to be. So it's, yeah.
Right, and but they were in that weird middle ground. That was the thing. Right?
Yeah, I mean, towards the end, yeah. For what we got in Tasha's, they shifted far heavier towards infusions.
And
then still gave you one.
Part of the problem, too, is that a lot of the existing infusions kind of already just are existing magic items. right? So
Yes.
they didn't do a good enough job of you making the fusions unique. So like the whole issue of we don't want the Artificer to be able to make a bunch of very rare magic items because that defeats the need to go into the dungeon and find rare magic items. You can get around that issue if the Artificer's infusion list is unique to them and does weird, unique stuff that doesn't necessarily step on the toes of the existing magic items. Now, of course, that's easier said than done because there's so many fucking magic items in the game. But that's kind of the ethos of it that I would have gone with, personally.
I could see that.
So, like, I would have taken Replicate Magic Item off the list. I would have taken Enhanced Defense and Enhanced Weapon off the list because those are just plus ones. It's too simple. Make it more interesting. I would have been like, you know, infuse element on weapon, infuse repulsion effect on armor, like stuff like that. And again, some of them kind of work that way.
I think you would have in some way, shape, or form still needed that monetary bonus though.
What do you mean monetary?
Or not monetary, numeric bonus. You'd still somewhere need that +1, +2, +3.
Why? Because that's what finding magic items is for.
Yes, but
because again, the Artificer shouldn't replace finding magic items.
No, but you also don't want it to pale in comparison to magic items.
No, but you could do a thing where you could so the Artificer infusion is like a tune element, and it's like this sword does a D4 of fire damage or something like that. Give the infusion the ability to be stuck onto a +1 sword. So you're like, I can't make a +1 sword, but if we find a +1 sword, I can make it a +1 fire sword. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it.
So then you'd want it to move to magical as well as non-magical.
What do you mean?
Because you you had said previously, right, to enchant non-magic items, what you just described is also enchanting currently magic items.
Oh yeah, just
more
enchant
magical.
items in general. Yes, I guess, yeah, enchant items in general. Technically, it doesn't say they have to mean the existing infusions as they are. You can put on magical items. It says nothing about they have to be mundane.
Yes, true.
Basically, what I'm saying is I think infusions should be unique, weird side grades as opposed to just straight up replacement upgrades. And of course, again, like, that's easier said than done because there are 60 bazillion jillion magic items in the fucking game and they keep making more magic items, so it's hard to come up with unique ideas all the time, but you know, that's kind of on them. I also think there's too many magic items in the game, but you know, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now.
We, at level 3, have access to the Artificer subclasses. The subclasses in question are everything we've had in Tasha's, being Alchemist, Armorer, Artillerist, and Battlesmith.
Yeah.
We'll go over those at the end. At level 3, you also get Right Tool for the Job, which says, the list of items you can create with magical tinkering now includes Artisan's Tools, which are described in the player's handbook.
You can magically
Which I think
MacGyver up tools.
But it's only Artisan's Tools. You can basically create the things that are in an Artisan's toolbox.
Isn't that the majority of them, though?
Let me check.
I feel like most tools fall under artisan.
Are you not going to let me select?
Like,
Artisan's Tools.
I mean, yeah, I suppose they could have given you the option to just make any of the toolkits.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah, Artisan's Tools are any toolkit. Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yes, you can create any toolkit. The wording on that is confusing. I think they should have just said any relevant toolkit. I think people would have understood that language just fine. At level 4, you gain your ASI. I guess the argument
would be like thematically they don't want the Artificer conjuring up like musical instruments, because those are tools, right?
True.
I think that's why they phrase it that way. And I don't even think it's so much a balance thing. I think it's just it would be goofy if the Artificer was like, I made a lute.
True, but I think it'd also be funny and sort of you could make for some cool shit if the Artificer was able to quickly magic up, MacGyver a loot for the Bard as they're trying to escape a dungeon or whatever.
Maybe that one.
Level 6, we have Magic Item Tinker, which is added on top of the Replicate Magic Item, and it gives you the following. Drain Magic Item as a bonus action.
They can make a loot.
Oh.
No, wait, no, they can't. Hold on, wait. Am I looking at this? No, they can't. Never mind. So Artisan Tools covers like alchemist supplies, the brewer's supplies, calligraphers, leatherworker, mason, yada. It covers all of those kinds of things. It doesn't cover disguise kit, forgery kit, gaming set, herbalism kit, magical instrument, navigator's tools, poisoner's kit, and thieves tools. It doesn't cover those. So it's a big majority.
Yes, it is the vast majority.
Okay. I know that felt a little pedantic, but I just
a bit, yeah.
I wanted to get it straight in my brain.
As a bonus action, you can touch a magic item within 5 feet of yourself that you created with the Replicate Magic Item feature and cause the item to vanish, converting its magical energy into a spell slot. The spell slot is level 1 if the item is common, or level 2 if the item is uncommon or rare. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so until you finish a long rest. Any spell slot you create with this feature vanishes when you finish a long rest.
One thing
I like the idea. Why do they cap you at second level spells?
Because they're kind of wary about abilities that let you regain spell slots in general. Because of the whole idea of the attrition in 5e. So they try to...
But at a half-caster, you don't got spells like that, fam. Like...
True, you don't have that many spells. The only change I would make to... I'm not too bothered by the cap. The only change I would make to this is let me consume magic items I didn't make. Like,
That's kind of crazy, though. Like,
let me just pick up someone's +1 sword and just launch it. Just crunch.
Nah, see, because that gets into a tough spot where that item is, something given by the GM. There might not be many of those in the game.
Right, but think about how often you get into a situation where your GM gives you a bunch of magic items and one of them, like a couple of them, you don't really end up using. Like, as a group, you're like, well, we're not really using this, so you can have it. And just use it to give yourself a spell slot. And then it has a use.
It's not enough of a use. A temporary spell slot does not equate to a full-on magic item that essentially costs hundreds of
I'm
gold.
not saying it's an amazing trade, but it's just let the option be there. Like, I don't see any reason to not have it be an option.
I would need more.
Like, it's not an efficient trade, but it's just a trade if you're like, well, this +1 sword serves no purpose because nobody's using it, so just fuck it, take it. You know?
No, I see what you're saying. I would need more.
Why?
I would say because it's just not enough. Like,
but it's just an optional thing. You're not obligated to do it. You could sell the magic item. You could give it to the Artificer. You could trade it with somebody. Like, you could do other stuff. I'm just saying, just let it be there. Just if you want.
Yeah, if it give you more than just a spell slot, then I would agree. Just not for what it is. I just don't want it there.
I don't think it needs to be more than the spell slot.
I think it does.
It's just an optional thing that's not going to get used that much. So just like it feels like they're like it has to be a magic item that you created. Just feels like a fairly arbitrary restriction.
Let's put it this way: in Baldur's Gate, when you got to feed magic items to Gale, even if they're shitty magic items, you're like, God damn it, why do I have to give these away? I'd rather sell them.
Yeah, and if you as a group would rather sell them, you can. That option's still on the table. But by just allowing the Artificer to consume them if you want, it's just another potential thing you could do. It's an option that has no negatives. There's no downside.
Other than losing the magic item.
Right, but that's not a downside because you as a group can just agree to do something else. You don't have to do it. It's not like the Artificer player is like forcing you at gunpoint to give him the sword to turn into a spell slot. It's just a thing you could do as an option as a group if you feel like it. You're not obligated.
Dog, we're just not gonna agree.
But I don't. You're making it sound like it's it's a force. Like the Gale thing is forced upon you as a player because it's a video game. This would not be forced upon you, so having it there has no downside. It's just an option. It's just another option. Having options like that is not a bad thing. And I'm agreeing that it would be a not very good use of the magic item, but if you as a group don't give a shit, then who cares? Like let's put it this way. If I have an Artificer player in the game and he's like, I didn't make this sword, but nobody's using this goddamn sword. We're not going to bother selling it because we have too much money. We don't care. Can I just consume it for a spell slot? I'd be like, sure, knock yourself out. Nobody's losing that. There's nothing lost. You know, like,
I got nothing for you, dog.
everyone's on the same page. Like, again, this is assuming the group agrees, right? Like, I'm assuming.
I'm not assuming
the whole group is on the same page.
Yes, I'm not assuming in my idea that the Artificer is just stealing items.
Yes, that would be shitty.
Yeah, it would be. But in the same vein, yes, it's an optional thing. You lose nothing if you have it.
Yeah, so put it in the text.
I just don't see a situation where I want it in the text.
Yeah, you're not going to use it, but someone might.
Because so I don't want it there. Because I'm not going to use it.
And
I can't in my head see a situation where I would find use for that thing.
But Isaiah, the Artificer was not designed to cater to you as a singular human player. Like, you're not the only player who plays the class. It's designed for a bunch of people. So putting it in there as an option, because some other player might consider it, just because you personally are like, oh, well, I would never do that, doesn't mean it shouldn't be there. Just because you're not going to.
The opinion comes in. I don't want it there.
I understand it's your opinion that you're not going to use it, but you get what I'm saying.
I got to agree.
But you don't. But I feel like you're being unreasonable. Like, you're making it seem like I think it's dumb, so it shouldn't exist. But someone else might not think it's dumb, so just put it in there because it's not hurting anything else. Like, you have to consider that they are designing for every potential player. You know, like, yeah, it's inefficient use.
Yes, I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I don't agree, and we got to move on.
I just think you're being unreasonable.
You can think that. That's fine.
Like, I don't think you're getting my point, but whatever.
I do. No, I completely get it.
I don't think you do.
I get what you're saying. We're just gonna move. We got to move on. After that, we didn't actually get to the second half. Expanded replication. You can learn a plan. What does it say? Oh yeah.
It's just an expanded replication list. It adds to the existing list. That's it.
Yes.
It's just more of the infusion stuff, or the not infusion, whatever the replicate magic items.
Yes. Level 7, you get Flash of Genius. Flash of Genius is good. It's always been good. Now it's just better, basically. It used to be the same thing as Inspiration. If you didn't know if you were going to succeed or fail, you could add it to the roll. Now it's just, if you know you fail, you then have the ability to add it on a bonus action. Or sorry, as a reaction, not a bonus action. The bonus is the same, equaling your intelligence modifier. And you can use it a certain number, also equal to your intelligence modifier. I think that changed. I believe it used to be Prof mod. Oh, intelligence mod. Never mind. At this point, I lose track of what's prof and what's not.
It seems to be kind of random.
There used to be a targeted effort to push everything towards prof mod, and now it just seems like.
Well, because they realize not everyone really liked the push everything to prop mod because it makes everyone's numbers identical, and that often feels kind of boring.
I agree.
But also, there are certain abilities where I think it should be a prof mod thing, because if it's an ability that's really, really vital, you don't necessarily want it to be tied to a stat if someone has like a bad stat. Like, I would I don't think is it? Fuck, I don't. Hold on.
Honestly, I think the easiest solution to that is you could do prof mod plus modifier.
Yeah, but then that's too many uses.
Prof mod plus modifier halved.
It's too many uses at that point.
You're only getting at that, rules is written without magic items. You're only getting another 2. So it'll bring your inspirations to 8, which powerful, not gonna lie, but I don't think game breaking at all.
Well, wait, what?
If you use the last thing I just said, which is prof mod plus modifier halved, rules is written with no magic items to assist you with that. That only gives you another 2. You're rounding down.
Yeah, I guess you could do that, I suppose. But they want it, the whole attrition of the adventuring day, they want to try and keep those. They don't want your ammo to get too bloated, because that's the whole problem with people going supernova all the time, is they have too much ammo. So they don't want to. They're trying to avoid that problem of never being able to whittle your players' resources down, because the game is based around whittling your players' resources down.
I get that, yeah.
But like, for example, Bardic Inspiration is so vital to the Bard that one being proficiency, I would say would make sense and I'd be okay with that, but that one's not proficiency. So, I don't know. You can also just make it a fucking set number and just control the number. like Barbarian Rages. Just,
yeah,
it is a number. Which, for some reason, they sometimes are okay with and sometimes not okay with.
Yeah, no real rhyme or reason on that one either.
Yeah, I probably would make everything set numbers, honestly. Like, if I had to choose between proficiency modifier as the ammo, or stat as the ammo, or set number, I'm just making shit set numbers.
Yeah, I can see the argument for that. At level 10, we get Magic Item Adept. Just gives you another attunement slot, lets you build stuff from the 10 plus table. Level 11, I'm actually quite happy to see this one come back. Spell Storing Item. They turned this into an infusion and it was a lot more simple. They've sort of pulled it back and made it a little more complicated. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon. Or one simple or martial weapon, or one item that you can use as a spell casting focus. All right, well, that's fine. I like that a little less.
What?
It has to be a weapon or a spell casting focus now, as opposed to just anything.
It was always
It used to just be anything.
It was always that.
No, it was not.
Yes, it is. I'm looking at it right now. Store a spell in an object. Whenever you finish a long rest, you touch one simple or martial weapon or one item that you can use as a spellcasting focus and store a spell in it.
Are you looking at the infusion version?
There is no infusion version. That's the ability spell storing item. What you're thinking of is spell refueling ring, which is a different thing.
No. So old Artificer. I'm talking like first, second iteration Artificer. Just let you do anything.
Okay,
you can just
well,
store anything
I'm
in a
talking
non-magic
about
item.
the Artificer we got in print.
Yes, that's why I'm saying I like that they brought some stuff back. I misread and thought they had brought it back in the way that I remember it.
Oh, to like the first playtest? No, it's not that. It's the same as the in-print version. This playtest is the same as the current in-print version. I don't think any of the wording has changed at all.
It may not have.
No, it hasn't. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Oh, we got third level spell slots. That's cool. I like that.
Oh yes, that was the one change. That was the one change. You can store third level spells. That was the only thing. Everything else is the same on the event.
So starting from the top, when you finish a long rest, you can touch a simple or martial item or weapon or one item that you can use as a spell casting focus, and you store a spell in it. Choosing levels 1, 2, or 3, Artificer spell that I can't read today. What the fuck?
You don't have to.
You can spell an item. You can store spells and items.
I was gonna say, don't read it verbatim. Just explain it.
Yeah. If it's concentration, the person's still got to concentrate on it. It stays in the spell until it's been used the number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier. Yeah. Holy fuck. Magic Item Savant, level 14. You get up to 5 magic item attunements rather than 3, and then you can choose the 14 plus list.
The Savant abilities are basically the same as they were before. They're just slightly reworded to work with the new replicate thing.
Yes.
But other than that, they're the same.
Level 18, you get 6 items rather than 3. Gotta love big numbers. Level 19, you get your Epic Boon. And then level 20, you get Soul of Artifice. This is another big change. It says you have developed a mystical connection to your magic items, which you can draw on for aid. You gain the following benefits. Cheat death. If you are reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can disintegrate one uncommon or rare magic item created by... Weird that it's only uncommon or rare, but fair enough. By your replicate magic item feature, changing your hit points to 20 instead of 0.
I guess common items aren't considered valuable enough that if you could just have a bunch of them on you, it'd be kind of bullshit if you could use those to cheat death. Because they're not... the point is you have to give up something of value to not die, right? Like, they want you to give up something.
Yes. I just have to laugh. I guess because they realize by 14th level, you're not going to have any commons on you at all.
Well, no, but if the ability said you could use commons, people would be dicks and would carry around a bunch of shitty, low-value common magic items to use on this ability specifically. Like,
they might.
They would do that on
There's a
purpose.
possibility.
And that kind of defeats the purpose of you have to give up, to gain something of value, you must give up something of value, is the idea of the ability.
Second ability you gain is called Magical Guidance. While you have attunement to at least one magic item, you can add 1d6 to any ability check you make. You decide to add one die after, or add the die after rolling the d20, and you can use this benefit only once per turn.
This one kind of sucks.
So it sucks. It sucks balls.
The flat bonus
good.
Was kind of better. Also, it's on ability checks as opposed to saving throws.
Yeah, the +6 to all saving throws was amazing.
I feel like what if they wanted, I mean, the +6, you could make an argument the +6 to all saving throws was a little too powerful. So if you wanted a little bit more of a happy medium, I would say you can add a d6 to any d20 test. That would be how you make it better. Any d20 test, as opposed to just ability checks.
I just want more than a d6.
Okay, maybe you do a d8. Like, you could argue about the die size, but you add a die to a d20 test. That's what I would do to get a little more happy medium on this. Or, I don't know, make a little table, and if you have 2 magic items, it's a d6, or a d4. If you have 4 magic items, it's a d6. If you have 6 magic items, it's a d8, like, that you're attuned to. You could do that.
So, I don't even want the higher number. I want more consistency.
I mean, you could make it 2d4.
2d4, yeah,
that would be more consistent.
Double your proficiency modifier, or you can add your proficiency modifier to all your saving throws. Like,
see, but
what it used to be was,
well, it was basically your proficiency modifier anyway, because why would you not be attuned to 6 magic items? You're an artificer.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that you could get extra, like you could get extra saving throw modifiers, right? You could get extra saving throw proficiency with things like feats, right? So you could stack that.
Yeah.
Now, if it was just, you can just add your, like, you just gain proficiency. Hell, that could be it. Yeah, you just, like, Monk has this ability. Let the Artificer have this shit too. You just gain proficiency to all saving throws.
Well, I think Monk having the ability is an argument to not give it to Artificer, because you don't want to give out, at level 20, you don't want to give people identical abilities if you can avoid it.
Yeah, like, yeah, I could see that.
The D6 is not good enough, but the automatic +6 on everything was too good. So we gotta, there's a middle ground somewhere in there.
I don't know. I don't know that it was too good. It's a level 20 ability. We keep talking about it. It's supposed to be stupid.
It is good. It is supposed to be good, but it's like a +6 to every saving throw is like a lot. I mean, you could also, I think it should scale with the amount of, the old version scaled based on items you were attuned to. This version, just you have to be attuned to one item. I think it should still scale based on items you're attuned to, because that feels thematically cooler.
It does. Well, so actually, a point for the old system is that every time you were knocked down, you lost one of those +1s.
Did, yeah.
And I think that's kind of what made it that was the balance.
Well, that's why I think the scaling die would be good. The scaling die size. Because, like, if you did it for every 2 magical items you're attuned to, right? 2, 4, 6. You could do it where it's like, okay, first time I get knocked down, I'm all right. Second time I get knocked down, okay, now the die size depreciates. Third time I get knocked down, I'm okay. Fourth time, okay, now it depreciates again. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit of a middle ground of, like, you still lose it, but not 100%. And then it scales based on the amount of magic items you have. And if you make it a die size as opposed to, like, a flat bonus is very, like, doing a flat bonus for almost anything is going to be really, really strong. So if it's a die, then you can apply it to more. So, like, a flat bonus applying to all D20 tests is too much. But a die size applying, a die roll applying to all D20 rolls is a little more reasonable, because it's not 100% consistent. So either you want consistent number applies to less things, or not consistent number, but it can apply to more things than that. They They went with it's an inconsistent number and it only applies to certain things, which is like doubly restrictive.
I would just prefer the more consistent number, less things, because then you can.
Sure,
I see it as you can pump that thing more. You can do cooler shit with that because you're zeroing in.
I mean, yes, in terms of like mathematically, that's just a preference of how you want the math to work out. But I'm saying, like, if I'm trying to be in their shoes, which I'm always trying to be when I look at this shit, if they said, okay, we don't want it to be a flat bonus, that was too good, we want it to be something a little bit less reliable, so it's not as good, then I would say a scaling die size is a better option. This doesn't scale and only applies to ability checks, which are fucking useless in combat.
Yeah,
or almost useless.
You know what I really wish? I wish whenever we got the videos, the interviews, that sometimes they would just level with you.
They kind of try to, but I don't think they're allowed to.
No, I don't think they're allowed, and I think that's frustrating as fuck. I just want them to be like, look, it was strong, and we're just gonna bring it down a little.
Sometimes they say that, but they always sugarcoat it.
They sugarcoat. It's annoying. I don't like. A teaspoon of sugar helps the medicine go down. I don't want it anymore. I have a cavity. Leave me alone.
I personally, my conspiracy theory is that they have to sugarcoat everything they say because when they're doing those videos, one of their bosses, whoever, maybe it's that Charlie Cox fuckhead, I don't know, one of their bosses says to them, the video must be entirely positive. No one can look at that and think that the product is getting worse, right? It has to be a marketing video. So you can't be too honest. That's my conspiracy theory.
Potentially.
So what do they do when they nerf something? Jeremy Crawford is like, we nerfed it, but I mean, that was the entire Ranger video.
It was right? The whole Ranger video.
Yes, we nerfed Ranger, but we did this other thing, and it didn't it didn't come across very well.
It landed kind of like a lead anchor, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Or what is it? Paper sails and a lead anchor, yeah.
Something like that. Oh, and Artificer got a couple more spells.
It did. I was trying. I literally was like, do I want to go into the number of spells they get? They forgot they actually just listed it.
Yeah, it's right there. Elementalism and
I literally was taking the time to look through the sheet and cross reference, but no, yeah. So you get Elementalism, True Strike, Arcane Vigor, Dragon's Breath, Homunculus Servant, which that's
a new spell,
old infusion. Yeah. And then Circle of Power. And I don't actually remember what that does.
I don't remember what Arcane Vigor does. Dragon's Breath is fun. I like that they get that.
I do too.
And Elementalism is the thing where you can create, like, they smushed all of the elemental cantrips together. Which, like, yeah. Thank God. Hated that those split up. The fuck does Arcane Vigor do? Is this a new spell? This might be a new spell. You tap into your life force to heal yourself, roll 1 or 2 of your unexpended hit dice, and regain a number of hit points equal to your rolls total plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Those dice are then expended. I think that's a new spell.
It might be. Yeah, I don't remember.
I think that's a new spell. Well, I like that. That's a fun spell. Anything that's going to use hit dice, I'm like, yes. More things that use hit.
Yeah, one of the things that uses a relatively untapped ammo counter to take some of the strain off other ammo counters.
It is yes. Arcane Vigor is a totally new spell. That would be why I didn't remember. Circle of Power. Not a new spell. An aura radiates from you in a 30-foot emanation for the duration. While in the aura, you and your allies have advantages on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. You're an affected creature makes a saving throw against a spell or magical effect that allows a save to only take half damage. They take no damage instead. Okay, that's pretty good.
Nice. Moving on to the subclasses, you start with Alchemist. I don't know about you. Alchemist is just the least.
It is the least interesting. The one I give. It got a little bit better, but like, I honestly, you could just read the design notes on this one. There's not that much to say. Alchemist
spells. Blight was replaced with Vitriolic Sphere. No, I like Blight. Blight is cool. Give that back, please.
I don't remember what Victor Spirit is.
I don't remember a bunch of it off the top of my head, but Blight is such a cool spell. It's such a unique, interesting spell.
It's a big acid AoE explosion.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want that. Let me.
I mean, I understand why they got Vitriolic Sphere. That does feel on brand, but
yeah, but Blight is cool.
Blight is cool. It's true.
Blight is. It's just weaker Disintegrate, and like honestly, let them have that. Tool proficiency. It allows the Artificer to craft potions faster.
All of the
That's cool.
subclasses got that one. Not for potions,
yeah.
but they all got to craft something faster.
For their like unique thing. Experimental elixir now produces more elixirs. The healing of the healing elixir. The healing of the healing elixir.
It's called healing
has increased.
Elixir.
I know. I just don't like the way it's worded.
Has increased, yeah.
And the 6th row of the table now lets you choose an elixir's effect. Restorative Regents has been changed to connect the temporary hit points to your level. Chemical Mastery has been redesigned. It now includes extra damage, resistance, and the ability to cast Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron. Other than that, yeah, to what Josh said, it really hasn't changed that much.
No, the Chemical Mastery is kind of cool.
It is kind of neat, yeah. Armorer has increased arguably significantly.
Not even going to say what the Chemical Mastery does.
Yeah, I just don't give a fuck. You can say it.
I mean, when you cast an Artificer spell that deals acid, fire, necrotic, or poison, you can deal an extra 2d8 force damage. Because remember, we took out magical damage as a concept. You gain resistance to acid damage and poison damage. Lamau, you're never going to get hit with those anyway. And you can cast Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron without a spell slot, without preparing it, and without material components, as long as you have your alchemist supplies. Once per long rest. I like Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron as a spell, so that's fun.
Yeah, it's a cool spell. Any of the named spells are typically pretty neat.
Generally, yes.
Other than Tenseer's Floating Disc.
Don't be mean to the disc.
It does almost nothing.
I know, but it lifts my spirit.
It's just about the only thing that thing lifts.
Yes.
Up next, we have Armorer.
It's got quite a bit.
Yeah, changelog. Tools of the trade. You can craft armor faster. Makes sense. Armor model now includes new armor option, Dreadnought. In the Guardian option, defensive field now relies on you being bloodied rather than having limited uses.
Which I like.
I'm sort of in two minds on that one, but fair
fun.
enough. Armor modifications has been replaced by a new feature, Armor Replication. I don't like that one. And Perfected Armor now increases the damage of your Thunder Gauntlets and Lightning Launchers. I mean, it's hard to not like it. The big gumungus in the room, obviously, is the entirely new armor archetype being Dreadnought. You're just Big Chungus. You're just big man on campus, and of your abilities,
it's basically the damage focused one. They had like the stealthy one, they had the defensive one. They're like, what if we give him a damagey one? Or an attacky one, I should say. It's not that it does particularly great damage, but it's an attacky one.
Yeah. Its first ability is called Armor Flail. An iron ball on a chain appears on one of your armor's gauntlets and it has the following traits. Why is there gonna be a flail? Yeah, just give me a big hammer. I want a big fuck off hammer. I want to punch something.
Because that's the Battlesmiths thing.
I know. Weapon category, simple melee, does 1d10 bludgeoning plus the ability modifier for the attack. It's got the reach property. That's fun. Don't believe it has a mastery. It's not technically a flail, but it's fine.
No.
Giant
None
stature.
Of these have masteries.
They do not know.
They would say specifically.
As a bonus action, you transform and enlarge your armor for 1 minute. For the duration, your reach increases by 5 feet, and if you are smaller than large, you become large, along with anything you are wearing. If there isn't enough room for you to increase your size does not change. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Second ability, Wrecking Ball. If you hit a creature that is at least one size smaller than you with the flail, you can push the target creature up to 10 feet straight away from yourself or pull the creature 10 feet towards you. I don't see myself ever using this thing, but it's cool.
Red dot?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I just love Guardian so much. I was like, I'm going to switch between Infiltrator and Guardian so much, and I literally never once did it because I had so much fun playing Guardian.
I think you did it like maybe twice, but...
Yeah, I think I did it once, and then I immediately went, I missed my Thunder Gauntlets. I would just want for those back.
Like to punch.
I would like to punch these. Thunder Gauntlets, simple melee, do 1d6 plus mod for attack roll. Distracting Pulse, it's the same thing. All creatures other than you have disadvantage to attack you. All creatures have disadvantage to attack anyone other than you. I bet.
Yeah, anyone but.
Then you have your. But you, yes. Defensive Shield, it's your cool force field ability. I kept calling it the AT field in the campaign that we played when I was using it. Now it says, while you are bloodied, I'm happy they brought that back. I know that's been a thing for a while, but I just want to mention it because we haven't had one of these episodes in a while. You can take the bonus action to gain temporary hit points equal to your Artificer level. You lose these temporary hit points if you doff the armor.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the bloodied thing. They haven't been using bloodied very much at all for the classes, but I'm hoping they're going to use it a lot with new monsters.
Yeah, I mean, if this is any indication, we'll probably see it more.
Hope so.
If not, I'm just going to be very fucking confused. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, so sort of in two minds on defensive field. I don't want to jump into another 20-minute diatribe about it, but I like that it gives you infinite uses.
Yeah, I like that.
Obviously,
it's
that makes it much more powerful.
Uses for a trade-off.
Yeah. The bloody thing, I mean, I don't know what other trade-off you'd make it. So fair enough, game. You've sort of checkmated me here. But something about it, I just am like,
I don't know.
I think it's because at that point, as an Artificer, you're never going to have that much health. I think the only reason why I peaked triple digits with Django is because I took the tough feat.
Yeah, but that's not like a special.
No, I know, but that's because I built it a certain way. Like, you're not typically going to scratch triple digits, and if you do, you're going to hit low triple digits. And at level 20, you're going to be fighting things that are going to be doing more than half your damage and more than half your health anyway.
Yeah, so you're going to have this a lot.
So, yeah, but it's that thing where you're going to have it infinite times, but you're basically just going to exist at like a quarter of your health for the whole fight. You're not really going to be able to break that.
No, but I don't think that's the point of it. It's not healing. It's not supposed to break that.
No, it's a damage mitigation. I am just wondering, I would like to see this tested in practical use before I have a better idea of if I like it more or not.
But it's like the same.
That makes sense?
It's essentially the same level of power, though.
It is.
You have tested it. The only difference is you can't use it at maximum HP. Like, you can't use it at the start of the fight, but other than that, it's the same degree of power. Like, it's just as strong as it was before.
Yes, but I want to know how it, like, because you're limited to the half health thing, it will feel different. So I just kind of want to know how that feels before I have like a opinion on it, you know?
I don't think it would. I don't
know. Worth trying though. After that, we finally have the Infiltrator. You have your lightning launchers. It's literally just your repulsors for Iron Man. It's the Iron Man to your Iron Man armor. Simple ranged, 1d6 lightning plus ability mod. Properties, thrown. I think it's funny that it's thrown.
Yeah,
I don't know what else you'd call it. It's just the fact that they...
Yeah, you're not throwing anything, so it does feel
weird.
You're
not throwing anything. Yeah, you're shooting beams. Range 9,300. That's a crazy max range. That's nuts. Then you have your lightning jolt. Once on each of your turns when you hit a creature, you can deal an extra 1d6 damage to that target. Your powered steps, your speed increases by 5, and then your dampening field. Oh yeah, I just realized this is the only one that's got 3 things.
Well, yeah, because powered step is just movement speed.
Yeah. You have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. If the armor normally imposes disadvantage, it clears that and returns it to normal. For Artificer in general, you get extra attack at level 5. Level 9, you get armor replication. Now, what this used to do was it separated your armor into different parts of the body, and each of those
take
infusions, yeah. And that did not...
So, obviously,
if they're gonna... didn't count towards your max?
No, you got a higher... No, it did count, but you got 2 extra.
You got 2 extra, that's right.
You got 2 extra infusions, but those 2 extra had to be on the on your armor. Obviously, though, if they're taking out infusions, they had to change this ability today.
Yes.
So now you can make essentially you get an extra armor thing. You get it, yeah. So you get another magic item, like one.
Yes, as long as it's armor, you get to just
Which is
sort of have it, and it doesn't count against it.
Fine, it's okay. I don't know.
Just less interesting than what it used to be.
I don't know what else you'd really
my
do
main.
though, because if you're gonna take out infusions, the old one can't stay as is. So I don't know what else you would do with this, to be honest.
You're right. Yes, that does sort of lead to an issue of thesis here for me. I don't think I'm gonna ever see that one and be like, I just kind of like the way it was more.
I mean,
Sort
I
of one of
guess
those
you could maybe make it that the ability takes a replicate magic, like maybe it could be a thing where you can enhance a existing magic item that is a piece of armor in some way, like you can upgrade.
That would be cool. Yeah, give you both.
That's
Let you either
kinda
make a
similar
new one
to the
or
old
upgrade a
version.
standard one. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know how that would work, but conceptually.
Finally, at level 15, you have your perfected armor. Your arcane armor gains the following benefits. For Dreadnought,
I don't think these changed at all, other than obviously.
they may not have.
Never mind, I lied. They absolutely did change.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Wait, did they? Wait, hold on. Can I read right? Hold on.
I
No,
can't.
never
today,
mind.
so
Never mind. They didn't. They got extra damage. But the rest is the
The
same.
Guardian got extra damage.
Guardian got damage,
Infiltrator had that.
Infiltrator got more extra damage.
Oh, got more.
Went from a D6 to 2D6.
Oh, it does. Oh, yeah, and it casts light. It didn't do that. Oh, no, it did.
No,
Never
it cast light. Yeah, it did.
So we'll just go over the Dreadnought one. The damage die for your armor flail increases to 2d6 bludgeoning damage. In addition, you can use your giant stature. Your reach increases by 10 feet, and you become size huge. You also gain a fly speed, which I thought was
I could only
Odd
I
flex,
could
but all
only
right,
picture Hulkbuster armor.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really just want to suplex the dragon.
Which is hilarious that you can be size huge, zipping around in
And
the sky.
fly. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And it's equal to your speed, which that's a little nuts.
Zoom zoom.
Take boots of if you take boots of speed, you're chilling at 60 fly speed at size huge. Faster than most player characters. You just turn into a fucking B-52 bomber at that point. After that, we got Artillerist. I like that this says wields destructive power from afar.
Well, Truest is almost identical.
Well, with one massive upgrade.
With one big upgrade. Yeah. One big upgrade.
Yeah, fucking huge upgrade, frankly. Honestly, it's literally, we've talked about this. It's the only fucking thing I wanted from Artillerist.
To be able to change
So I
it
am
on
quite
the
happy
fly.
I got it. Yeah. Change on the fly or just get access to all of them.
Yeah.
And they gave you the even better version. They were just like, you just take them all. Fuck it.
Well,
Your arcane cannon is just sort of it's that one weird gun from the Fifth Element that the bad guy, that fucking Gary Oldman's character has.
Oh, yeah, because you can use any of them every time you do the bonus action, you pick which one you use.
Weird thing, they took some language out. So they say that it can be small or tiny.
But you can't hold it?
They don't specify if you can or cannot hold it anymore.
I saw that too. I noticed that too. I thought that was weird.
And if it's size tiny,
presumably you
clearly you can hold it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that you wouldn't be able to hold it
But
if
they
it's
also
size
say,
tiny.
but then they also say, decide if it has legs or not, or like legs or wheels.
Exactly. So if you can decide if it has legs or wheels, you can decide it doesn't fucking have either of them, and then you just hold it like a gun.
They seem to be against the idea of the Eldritch Cannon being a gun in your hand. They want it to be a mobile turret.
Yeah, I mean, they can suck my dick.
Yeah, I don't really know why. I don't know what that's all about, but they seem to be against that. I've noticed.
Well, because they want you to do the next ability that I've never liked, which is your gun wands, which no one fucking liked.
I don't hate
because
the
they
gun
wanted
wand.
an actual gun.
I don't hate the
Not
gun
saying
wand.
that no one liked it. Yeah, so it's out of line to say that no one liked it, but people were like, "Oh, you took my gun away from fucking."
The thing that's weird about the gun wand the arcane firearm ability is that you get it at level 5. So like fictionally, your artificer at level 1 is using a wand like normal, and then at level 5 you look at your wand and you're like, I could make this a gun.
Yeah.
You know? I did have the mental image though of turning like a staff into like a magic like rifle and firing scorching ray out of it, and that was kind of cool. That made me want to use it.
Not a terrible idea. I just still want my arcane cannon. That's just my gun.
Well, the thunder cannon was cool. Yes, I think the thunder cannon probably would be a like another subclass called like gunsmith or something like that.
Dude, if we got back thunder cannon and it was just the damage dealer and that's all it could do, it just put out a magical fuck ton of damage, I'd be happy, genuinely. Because I can sit there and deal 12d6 damage twice per turn, and that's all I'm doing for this fight, and I don't give a fuck, baby.
Once again, you run into it's fine on its own, but then multiclassing ruins everything.
Well, so the good thing about what it used to be is you had to invest up to 6 levels to actually get the extra damage.
Right, which is a decent chunk, but you could still do some paladin gunsmith bullshit.
You could, hey, look, you could. I'm not gonna pretend you could.
Plus rogue.
Honestly, so the thing that I liked about it too, right, is it took quite a bit of time and effort, right, to get Thundermonger, which was the name of the ability, and then every 3 levels you just got another die.
Right, which I think was a little overboard.
Yes, but it was so funny because it seemed targeted to be like, oh, you stuck in for the long haul? Congratulations, bud. Shakes hand. You know what I mean? Like you won the lottery, kiddo.
But it did need to. I think I'm cool with the idea of the thunder cannon. It just needed a little more time in the oven.
Yeah, look. I mean, look. I'm not gonna pretend to like. I don't even. I think it maxed out at 9d6 per shot, and you can fire it up twice per round
because
if you had something.
That's a crazy ability to have an infinite amount of.
Yes. Well, so you could technically fire it twice per round. You didn't have the action to fire it twice per round. So they sort of accounted for the like a 5-level dip into something, but you were never going to get the highest amount of damage out of it.
Right, but I think what I'm saying is that many, like that pool of d6s on a single attack for something that has no limiting ammunition factor is a little much.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a little bit. I struggle to hate it too much because at that point you've got Rogue doing 18 million d6.
With stipulation.
With stipulation, but still a lot of d6, and then
it's also once
fucking Warlock is just you're just a light machine gunner with Juggernaut armor for Modern Warfare 3 at that level.
Debatable, but
you're just a machine gun. You just have a minigun that fires fucking Eldritch Blast.
Yes, other than that, Artillerist is the same.
I think you can. Well, now you can blow your shit up.
You could always blow it up. It's just now you can blow it up as a reaction.
Oh, as a reaction. Okay.
I think it was a action before.
It might have been.
That explosive cannon. As an action, you command your cannon to detonate. It was a whole ass action.
Oh, that's ass.
Now it's when the cannon
side of ass.
Now when the cannon is reduced to 0 hit points, you can take a reaction to command it to detonate. Interesting. Okay.
There is a universe where you could make the Eldritch Cannon with wheels and cast enlarge on it and ride it like a motorcycle with a gun on it.
Hilarious. But I just had the thought of the old version where it was an action. You just look at your gun and you just like flick a switch and it glows and you just throw it like a grenade.
Yeah, that's what you did. You just yeet it like a fucking grenade.
Just explode. It's very goofy.
It was that, or it was the fucking Modern Warfare RCXD like RC car with a grenade on it or some C4 on it.
Something like that.
Moving on, we have Battlesmith. Command a construct guardian.
There is 2 notes. Nothing changed.
Literally 2, yeah. almost nothing changed. Yeah,
the Steel Defender damage and HP got adjusted.
Yeah, and you can craft weapons faster. That's
it.
That's about it.
Steel Defender was arguably the best, like the most powerful one anyway. Or
Yeah,
or Battlesmith was arguably the most powerful one.
Yeah, I mean, you're just old Ranger. You're just 4E Ranger. You just had your buddy who did an ass load of damage and was really cool.
Well, you're current Ranger now too.
Yeah, true.
Ranger can actually. Ranger is on par with the Battlesmith now.
Yes. Battlesmith still does more damage though, so you know.
Maybe.
Fact.
I don't know if it does or not, but yeah. Like I don't know if
I don't
know if your minion does more damage or not. Like the Steel Defender versus
you have you have your improved Jolt, which increases damage to 4d6.
Yeah, but the new Ranger Primal Companions also get damage upgrades. Sure.
They do. I don't think they hit that high. They might, but I don't think they
I don't remember.
And then finally you get one custom spell. It's your Homunculus. Homunculus is actually a little bit better now than it used to be.
Yeah.
Not that, you know.
Wait, how is it better?
They increased its damage from a D4 to a D6.
Oh.
A little bit better.
Sure.
I mean, it's just going to kill more than it used to for me, you know?
I mean, yeah.
He just killed so many things. So much murder came out of my Homunculus. Higher kill count than Brett's character by the end of campaign. It was really funny. And then the infusion turned magic items are the same. They have not changed.
So for context, at level 11, a Beastmaster's Primal Companion can you command your Primal Companion to attack, the beast can use it twice. So 2d8 plus 1d8 plus 4 is the one attack, so they can do 2d8 plus 2, or one. They can do 1d8 plus 2 twice. And the first time they hit a creature under the effects of your Hunter's Mark, they deal extra force damage equal to the bonus damage of that spell. So I think they actually do. They are kind of on par with the Steel Defender.
Oh, cool.
Or at least pretty close.
I can see close. And that's it. That's new Artificer. Our Artificer UA
Playtest.
1 million.
2024 Artificer. I'm sure. I have a feeling we will see more. Probably. I'm thinking probably we'll get 3 of these.
I'm gonna scream.
That's my guess. I think because we got 3 for every other class.
We did.
So I'm thinking it'd be likely we get 3. Although because Artificer is more recent, they might only do 2 because it needs less attention than the older classes did. Because when it came out in Tasha's, it was kind of already starting to shift in the direction of the newer designs anyway. So maybe only 2. We'll see. I'm wondering what fucking book this is going to be in.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's going to be in the next big book.
Which is going to be
Xanathar's. I don't know, but...
Because they haven't said anything about that. I think the next book we're getting, they said, is going to be the Forgotten Realms setting book. Like, I don't think Artificer's going to be in there. I don't know. That is the thing I'm really wondering is where the hell is this actually going to show up in print?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the issue with Artificer, right? Is that it just, whenever it feels like it should be somewhere, it isn't there. And then it shows up somewhere.
It should have been in the fucking player's handbook. Like,
exactly.
It should have been in the player's handbook, but whatever.
And yeah, so now that it's going to show up somewhere else, you're just like at a loss. You're just like, well, where the I
don't know.
I suppose we will find out.
5e and their incredibly weird relationship with the one additional class they ever made.
Honestly, so I think that's another issue with me when it comes to the UAs for Artificer, because I just want more classes.
I mean, sure, yeah. Once again, I blame multiclassing.
Possible.
I think multiclassing is like one of the biggest things that holds the design team back from making. because it is a can of worms that they opened many eons ago and now don't know what to do with it.
I think they should just say fuck it and just start throwing shit at the wall. Like,
yeah, but like you don't want to throw so much shit at the wall that like it, because multi-classing already has like almost game-breaking potential, so you don't want to make that even worse. You know?
True. I just like, this is the Mystic thing, right? Was it good? No. Was it crazy? Yes. Am I happy that we got it? Yes, because it got us a bunch of other shit. Give us a million classes. Even if you don't use any of them, you're getting potentially a million more magic items and subclasses and recyclable features that you'll see in other places. Just start throwing shit at the wall. Now is the time. You got you got money.
I mean, they certainly could start making a whole bunch of class playtests and see what the reception is, but
shit, bro. Whose dick do I gotta suck to get Blood Hunter canon? Like, make that official 5e.
I
don't care. I'll do it anywhere.
Does it even matter though? Do you want it official? You want Wizards to just fuck it up?
That's facts. No, I really don't.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Although, here's the thing.
I don't think
Mr. Mercer is a very conservative homebrewer.
True.
You know, like, Blood Hunter was never great, so they can't make it worse. Right?
I don't think, like, when I look at the core design of Blood Hunter, I don't think Wizards would have ever made that. It does a couple of weird things that I just don't think Wizards would have ever done, and so I just don't see them making it official because they don't seem willing to do it for some reason. I don't know what the reason, but for some reason.
That's what made it cool, is that they did weird shit that no one was going to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes stuff that's not Wizards cool, is that people who aren't on the Wizards team do weird shit because they have less red tape.
Shout out to
Wizards team
Mr. Rex.
A lot of red
tape.
I
was gonna say, shout out to the fucking Mr. Rex monsters as classes, because that's just been so much fun.
Also something Wizards would never do.
No, but it's so much fun. Genuinely, I'm having a great time playing as Null, and yeah, I'm just really sad that that's not going to be a thing anymore for me. So, press F to pay respects and toss your homie a high five in the comments.
I would like to just see an updated Blood Hunter. That's all I would like to. Just a 2024 Blood Hunter.
Also would be cool.
But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Probably not, because I don't think Mercer has any interest at this point, because why would he? He has Daggerheart now.
He does have Daggerheart now. Although I would like to see some of the Daggerheart, like, stuff. Obviously, you can't do the classes.
Why not?
I know you could. Well, because a lot of them are like carryover.
Yeah, but you can make more classes. There's nothing stopping them. I think Daggerheart, it will actually be easier because Daggerheart was built more module from the beginning. Like, the game is more module from the ground up than 5e is. So I think it'd actually be probably easier to make classes for Daggerheart.
Oh, that's what you mean. No, yeah. So, yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
What?
I was thinking reverse engineering Daggerheart stuff back into 5e would be weird. That's what I was talking about.
I don't know how you would do that. That would be tricky because of the card system.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you kind of can't.
Yeah, because the class is a much smaller portion on how your character plays than a class in 5e. The cards that you pick have a much bigger influence.
That being said, give me Daggerheart Blood Hunter, because that would probably be fucking wild.
I think that would be a cool idea. Yeah, that has a lot of potential. Especially because you could make a new type of card that was like blood magic cards.
Yeah.
Call it.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. We're at 2 hours again. God damn it.
I don't know why you just said that out loud, but yeah.
Because I was in my head, in my heart of hearts. I just wanted a short episode. Remember when it was just when it was just going to be the two of us, and we're like, we're going to start focusing on more short form content. And it literally has been the exact opposite.
No, it hasn't been the opposite. We just have stayed mostly set. We said shorter. Nobody said nothing about 10 minutes or some shit. Like we said shorter.
No, shorter. But we were trying to cut our time down by about 30 to 40%.
I mean,
and the last month has just been
this is not
20% more than we've done.
This is not on-air discussion. We could discuss this later, but yes.
Look, I think this is like some of the fun bloopers we could do at the end of the episode, because fuck it. Worst case, Brett will just cut us out or cut us off.
Or kill us.
He could also do that. That's
he might
true.
just kill us.
Well, he might kill you. You have been the source of his ire for a couple weeks, and I'm just
I don't
chilling.
see why. I have done nothing.
Is your episodes that you hosted were the particularly long ones the last couple weeks?
I guess. If you've made it this far, you could give us a follow on Twitter or subscribe. If you didn't do that before, you should do that. If you made it,
please do.
If you made it this far, I feel like if you made it this far, we deserve a little something. You know what I'm saying? A little something. A little slap on the ass, a little something.
What was that one thing he said to you?
What? Ooh, what?
What was that one thing Brett said to you the other day? Because you forgot to upload, like the only time you've ever forgot to upload your audio.
Oh.
And it had me in tears.
I don't know. Brett says crazy shit to me all the time.
He does. It was so fucking funny though, dude.
He says wild shit constantly.
He does. Yo, y'all should really see half the shit Brett says having to deal with us chuckle fucks. Edit material. Okay, let's get out of here. I'm gonna go on a tangent.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, I found it.
Goodbye. What? Okay, go ahead.
He went, Josh, not seeing Wigglies for you in the folder. You have 3 hours before I reclassify you from tripedal to bipedal. What the fuck does that mean?
You know what that means.
I know, it's just so fucking great. Okay, I'm gonna lose it. Peace, motherfuckers. I'm out.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.